In terms of bots, at Splash Damage we'd never had the plan to make them because we simply didn't have the bandwidth. If any commitment to introducing bots to the game would have meant that some other area of the game would have sucked. And but you know, luckily for the game, id Software came across this guy called John Dean. He was a kind of prolific bot coder in the community. He'd written some bots for Wolfenstein Enemy Territory called Fritz bots, and id Software were able to recruit him, and then he's kind of worked closely with one of our mentors, Jean-Paul, who was responsible for the Quake 3 bots originally. And so this team over at id really just started crunching on creating bots, you know, with the design goal of making them play as much like human opponents as they possibly could. The goal wasn't just to have, you know, these bots that ran around the map that you could use as target practice. We wanted them to actually complete objectives, to understand how to use their weapons, items and tools. You know, you can just start a game and play on your own with a bunch of bots, and by default they will try and complete objectives. The medics will come over and give you health when you need it. You can request health, you can request revives. They'll keep you, you know, full of ammunition. They'll cover you if you need covering fire. They'll deploy defense turrets, artillery guns, and they'll pursue missions as part of the mission system. So if you jump on a mission to destroy the substation barricade, and there are two or three other bots that have taken that mission, they'll also appear in the fire team with you, and you'll know exactly what all of you are doing in trying to complete that objective. So they do actually pursue objectives and do everything that you want them to, but you can control the level of kind of tactics that they'll employ with the interface. So you can firstly set their tactical intelligence, you know, how well they'll support you, how well they'll complete objectives and stuff. You can set their aiming accuracy, and then you can also set whether they complete objectives or not. If you turn that to off, you can go through the game almost as a single player experience, just completing all of the objectives yourself. In fact, if you were to do that and play all 5 character classes for the Global Defense Force and the Strog, so you got the experience of all of the different combat roles, through all 12 maps it would take you 40 hours to play everything once. So there is a ton that you can experience offline, you know, without going anywhere near a human opponent at all. But you can also turn their ability to complete objectives back on and then just snipe up on the hilltops, or focus on improving your ability to run around and hack into deployables, or you know, how effective you are with the rocket launcher and stuff like that. In terms of aggression, if they're on defense, they'll kind of hold their position, but they will seek alternate routes. So they understand how to find their way around the map. They'll use vehicles if they're available to them. They'll bail from a vehicle if they need to avoid combat or to seek cover. They understand cover locations, the best places to deploy defense turrets, where to put down radar to get intelligence on the enemy and stuff. So it's a combination of them reacting dynamically to the situation that presents itself to them and making a decision based on their default skill level, you know, easy, medium, hard or whatever. And also, of course, some work that goes into preparing the maps for bot use. So the level designers will place entities for good points that they can seek cover from behind, or that they can deploy, you know, tactically deploy a defense turret. So it's a real balance. But when you play against them, they really do feel like humans. You know, if you shoot one of your teammates, he'll say, "Do I look like a Strog?" Or, you know, they'll run over and they'll stab you to finish you off when they've incapacitated you. During warm-up, they'll team kill each other like crazy, just like on a normal public server. They'll taunt each other when they get into combat and stuff. So it's actually quite surprising. When we play matches over at Splash Damage against bots, you quite often find yourself trying to figure out, is that a bot I'm playing against or is it a human? I honestly can't tell the difference at this point when I'm playing. You can play on your own against a series of bots. You can play cooperatively with a friend and play through all of the campaigns, so you're both on the same team, completing objectives or not completing objectives. You can play against each other with any number of humans or bots. So you and I can have a bot match where we play against each other, and it's a bit like chess. There's you and me, and then we've got 11 bots on each side, and we're trying to coordinate with them to try and beat each other. You can play online on a server in a purely human match, or you can configure the server to fill out up to a maximum number of players with bots. So, you know, let's say the maximum number of bots is 16, but you want a 16-player server or a 24-player server. If 4 humans join, then it will delete 4 bots from the server to maintain the number that you want to have as the correct number of players for a good game. So when I talk about PC, we're talking about Windows XP and Vista, of course, which we have the game running on now, and the Mac OS X community that can run the game, and then the Linux community that can run the game, all play on the same servers and play with the same version of the game. The Xbox 360 then play independently as a community, and then the Sony PS3 play as an independent community. So there's no interplay between the PC and the consoles, but there is between Mac OS X, Linux, and Windows and Vista. I think the thing that's really new and different about Enemy Territory Quake Wars, you know, setting aside the fact that it has asymmetrical gameplay because it's in the Quake universe, the humans and the alien Strogg, and, you know, the advanced technology, because of course every game developer talks about advanced technology. But for the game, the real draw is the team play. There is a much greater level of satisfaction that comes from, you know, running around and completing an objective and feeling like a hero playing alongside a squad of human or bot teammates than there is from simply running around deathmatching and capturing flags. The problem until now has been that contemporary multiplayer combat games are particularly difficult to get into. Even once you're on a server and you're patched and you've got everything that you need to, you tend to just get your ass kicked by younger players who have been playing for a month longer than you. With Enemy Territory Quake Wars, you get to pursue a combat role that suits your preferred playing style, and in actual fact you can play effectively as a team player and without firing a single shot, you know, just by constructing bridges and guard towers and repairing other people's vehicles and deploying defense turrets, it's possible to get to the top of the scoreboard without actually having to be a twitch shooter. And now, twitch shooters are still going to have a real great time treating the game like a sandbox, just running around and blowing stuff up and getting into those kind of assault rifle combat battles down corridors and stuff. But for the player that wants to team play, all they ever have to do is hit M for a mission or the appropriate button on a console, and the server will automatically generate a mission that tells them exactly where to go, what to do when they get there, and what their reward's going to be for succeeding in coordinating with their team.